together, we're about ready to change the industry again. We updated, gave a visual refresh to the holistic architecture, and this is just the top section of it. And it's still focused on the technical foundation that provides a differentiated and powerful user experience for actors or utility members of it, any type. And with that experience, it's all about creating actionable results, optimized performance, and informing better decisions. And with that, we started getting a lot of questions about 18 months ago. Questions you probably have had yourself or may resonate with you, like, what is a digital twin? We just had Gigi read the definition. And we decided that we needed case studies to help back up what a digital twin is. So our subgroup worked with leading utilities across the globe on 10 case studies to define and provide an actual example of what a digital twin is. Other questions we got was, fantastic architecture, but how do we apply it? How do we apply it for our utility? How do we use it with our existing systems? Do we have to have all new technology? Those sort of questions. And the most frequent we got was, how do I get started? And so we're thrilled to have been working the last 18 months on bringing clarity to that confusion. And today we're proud to reveal to this audience, the first in the globe, the Digital Twin Readiness Guide. If you would like to get out your phones, if you'd like to get a copy of it, we'll flash a QR code, and you can be the first to download it. It will go to a SWAN website. And with that, I thank you so much for all of your participation and working together. And I'll pass it over to Puskar to go over the details of the guide. This way. Yeah.
So standing here and gazing into the future, right? The way that I see it is many different ways the Digital Twin Readiness Guide is going to change the future of water industry. We propose 4 pillars for the digital twin journey. Those are outcomes, connectivity, technology, insights, and interactions and actions. We believe these are foundational elements of any digital twin journey. The pillars of the digital twin support the digital twin journey. And this journey can be simplified into 4 simple steps. Identify desired outcomes, assess the gaps, implement digital twin, and expand digital twin as you progress. We've been using as an industry models for a long time to better design our systems, but with digital twin, we believe that the models are getting an upgrade. And eventually, it seems like they'll fulfill their true potential of truly helping the efficient water system operations. We are confident that the 10 case studies from all over the world included in the Digital Twin Readiness Guide will inspire you to take your own digital twin journey and eventually realize the full potential as Andrew envisioned, every single water drop under control. With digital twin, payback is fast and benefits are many. And with this, many utilities are continuing to invest in expanding digital twin. So with that, I would like to pass my co-lead to show us how we can join this journey together.
Thanks, Puskar. So we couldn't have done it without everybody's support and contribution from the architecture subgroup as well as the digital twin working group. And it's a pretty large effort, as you can see. Over 18 months of work, 70 meetings, 14 workshops, over 85 contributors, we counted, from 49 organizations. So it's a pretty big effort. We came together, discussed ideas, agreed, disagreed, but we had fun. And our aim and our common aim is really to pave the way for more digital twin implementation. So the holistic architecture subgroup has come a long way. The aim of the subgroup really is to establish a common language, allowing the water industry on the ecosystem and technology around digital twins. And we started in 2019. We created this architecture diagram. We built on top of this architecture diagram the pillars and the digital twin journey. And today we've launched the digital twin readiness guide. But there's still more to be done. And we are really on the path to accelerate the growth of digital twin adaptations. And here is really an open call to organizations, especially utilities, to join us. Share your challenges, share your success stories, so that we can work together more. So join us in the working group. We're going to have our next call coming up in July. And if you're interested, please feel free to contact me and Michael to join the work group. Yep, that's it.
And you can see that everyone is talking digital twins from 2016 and ongoing. So the green line is the Google trend, so who search for the word digital twin on Google. And the blue one is the peer-reviewed publication in Scopus, which research are published in. And as you can see, if we add digital twin and we add water to this digital twin. We only have a minor amount of publications, so everyone else in the industry is also talking digital twins, and we need to also learn from those. And I just updated the numbers just for fun, so you can see that we have nearly 3,000 publications in 2021, where we had 900 in 2019, so it's doubled in 2 years. And only 68 of those are within the additional word of water. Digital twin is also very popular in Google Trend or at the Google Analysis. If you search on it for Google, where we have a 40% increase from 2019. So everyone is discussing digital twins right now, and we also need to broaden up our minds from what they are doing. So what are our group doing? We look into this lifecycle management, where we have the planning, design, procurement, construction, operation and maintenance, and end of life, maybe, from a lot of products. And in this we have a lot of data, as you also saw from Neom and CoBuilder. We have all this historical data, technical data, financial data, real-time data, and so on. And we also have all the models that are supporting these, which are design models, financial models, operation model, and so on. And we need to link all these data together, so that we don't have separate models and data, but we have all the life cycle of all of this. And in that way we can have value creation and cost optimization. So what is this life cycle? If we go back and look in the original literature by Greaves, we can see that he pointed out that this is a digital twin environment that we are trying to build, where we have the prototype, and then it became instances, and one instance can be an aggregate of several, or we can have just a lot of instances. So we need to develop this environment. Just saying that there are words for this, and people have talked about this for a very long time, and also before this these papers in 17. So what have we done in our group? We have identified this circle, which are the digital twin stages, the planning, design, construction, and operation. And then we also have the levels, because we can have digital twins on different levels: component, hydraulic structure, process, plant, system, city, society. And what we want is that everything is connected, so that there are data links in between. But just to map out from the survey, where do we work? And actually we are pretty, there's a lot working in a lot of the stages from our survey, but in the levels we are mainly on plants and systems, and some are also on components. We don't see, of course, city and society, because it's maybe a bit harder. So the objectives of our group is to create these diagrams, and maybe they could be evolving further, but we need to demonstrate the digital twin environment with the stages and levels, and if we find more. And then we also need to gather and share this information of how the digital twins are maintained, updated, and upgraded, and this is where the data links come in. And then we also think that we need to strengthen the terminology when we talked about a digital twin, because there are several of them, so to be much more clear in our terminology. And then we gather and share case studies within our digital twin environment. So the agenda for the next meetings, if you are interested, and I hope you will be, is that we will talk, we'll see examples of the city and plants, and we will also talk with somebody who really done a lot in the design stage. And further on, we will talk about these data links, how we connect everything together. And just from the questionnaires, there's some experience here that metadata is really important. We need to start simply and improve continuously. And we also have these regular upgrades that we need to do. We have also from the questionnaires some good examples where we have API libraries and case studies, and we will reach out to those of you who answered to have you present at the meetings. So join us for the next meeting, which are June the 2nd. next week. Thank you.
Okay, so the next sub-working group is the BIM and Asset Management sub-working group. And that's chaired by Jamie Mills and Chris Steele. And unfortunately, at the very last minute, neither one of them could make it today, so I'm going to try to do this myself. I have attended every meeting, but it's their slides, so here we go. So, well, let me start from the beginning. The main objective for this sub-working group is, as we got into the Lifecycle sub-working group, we realized that BIM plays a huge role in understanding the design phase, which earlier today. And so many people in the water utility, I mean, BIM comes from building information modeling. It comes from the building and architecture sector. But in the UK especially, because of the British mandate that all physical infrastructure has to have a digital twin, there's a lot of leadership coming from the UK and really pushing the issue of using BIM in the water sector. And so that's why we collaborated with BIM for Water early on, and Jamie Mills was the chair of that as part of the British Water organization. And so the main reason for this sub-working group is to really elaborate on some of the concepts of BIM and why it's important and how do we in the water sector start to use it. So some of these objectives, what they decided is to first start with definitions of BIM, and we learned a lot about PDT, product data templates. I don't know if any of you have watched, but one of the most watched webinars was on PDTs. Which was very, very informative, the purpose of it and how to use it. And I think a lot of people gained a lot of knowledge about PDTs and the importance of them in the BIM process. Then what the chairs decided to do is they're going to focus on processes. So process blocks within a digital twin. So let's say you're dealing with a water distribution. You might have a process block around the pumping station, or if you're in a treatment plant, you might have a process block just around the actual chemical dosing and the chemical interactions. And once they start to develop these process blocks, then they start to look at what data do you need, what asset information is critical, and again, going back to BIM and going back to PDTs. That they're also looking at what sensor information do we need. Then they clump on there what models are going to be used for this particular small process block. And what's really exciting about these process block way of thinking is this is something I think most utilities will start to feel very comfortable to start to share. This is like if you work through a process block of a pumping station, that probably is not that different than another process block in another utility of a pumping station. So I think these are shareable entities that is going to come out of this working group. So we're very, very excited about that. And as you heard earlier in the keynote from Neom, and as Aunita just described in the Lifecycle working group, looking at BIM, BIM process actually takes asset information and other information on a continuous basis. You're constantly adding to it, starting from the planning stages and into the design and through construction. As you know, when a pump is actually installed, when is it commissioned, all that information is part of the BIM process, is part of the properties that I think Lars and Joad talked about earlier. So this is a very, very important part of digital twin, and it's very exciting, some of the work that they're doing here. Again, they're talking about the different process blocks. Right now, they're identifying the different ones. They're starting off with the wastewater. They'd like to go into the water distribution afterwards, and they would love all engagement from all of you to share your experiences. They are developing a document that will be on the SWAN, and it might already be on the SWAN website, that really talks about some of these process blocks and how you go about creating them. And again, we're going to be reviewing that and enhancing it, and hopefully this is something that's going to really help the water sector in a large way. And one of the questions that they have for all of you, so if you see me later on in the day, I would love to hear from you about that. What are some of the priority process blocks from your experience? Whether you're a utility, an engineering company, or even a vendor, any of you, I would love to hear your perspective, what are some of the priorities so that this group can focus on and share with everyone else. And so with that, that's really just a brief introduction of the BIM and asset management. Is proven to be an extremely important part of digital twin, and I think there's a lot of learnings from it. The very last sub-working group is the outcomes and ROI, and that's shared by Andy Smith and Pedro, and I think Pedro is not here, but maybe on virtually, and Andy will come up and share the working group. So thank you, Andy.
Talk to you about the outcomes and applications group. So you've heard a lot this morning around sort of like the technical aspects of digital twins. As Gigi will know, my big passion is around the outcomes and how we apply the learning from those, and particularly around people. So yes, so I'm from Anglian Water, and Pedro's online. We have the pleasure of actually chairing this group and bringing this group together. And if you're interested in signing up, or for any of our subgroups, which I'll just run through with you, please go to the SWAN website, let us know, because the more people we get around this, particularly from utilities, so the end users of digital twins, the more important that is and the more insight we'll gain. So our objectives have been around identifying the most common outcomes that drive digital twin adoption within utilities, within the water sector, discover and share best practice for organisational stakeholder engagement, goal setting and the outcome matrix, point to a real-world experience within organisations. So this is about looking at real case studies within utilities and seeing how that's driving change. And one of the big issues that we've had right from the start is this big question about return on investment, because it's unique to every utility. So I don't think we'll be actually be able to produce a return on investment model in itself. But what we're going to be able to do is show case studies which actually show benefits, linking to the other case studies that are being developed by the other groups as well. And then we want to look at the users. So, you know, that sort of so what question, what does it mean to me, all those sorts of things, but also most importantly, what does it mean to your organisation? So we've decided to break it down into 3 different areas. So the first one, which links to some of the other groups, is around insights. And we have 2 leads for that. So we've got Andrew Codis and Tom Woolley, who head that piece up. So we're actually building and trying to develop a matrix, which is really focused in on those insights. And that is literally from source to source. So we'll look at the man-made water cycle and actually develop case studies in each of those different areas. My real passion is the next one, around people. So we've got Addie and Boyana. Boyana's here today, so if you'd like to catch up with her. And this is about people. We've got some really interesting people here who are really focused in on that question. You know, what does it mean to me in my different role, my persona within an organisation? You know, right the way from the operator on the ground right into the boardroom. This is where we need to start mapping these things out. And then the last one, which obviously comes off the back, is around business transformation. And we've got Tim and Aris who are leading that piece. So what we're trying to do here is to say, yes, digital twins, fantastic, changes the way we operate as a business. But we need to be understanding of what actually your transformation within your business needs to be. What do you need to look out for in terms of the new skills that are required? How does the water sector compete in a digital age with the likes of Google? Our competition has fundamentally changed. And I'm seeing this in my organisation at the moment. We are training people with new digital skills and they become very attractive. Water utilities, as we all know, who work in water utilities, you don't do it for the money, right? There's a lot of people out there who can pay a lot more than we can. So how do we retain? What's our unique selling point as an organisation? So a little bit of detail around the subgroups. So this is quite broad. So we really sort of thought about insights, about knowledge and the understanding of what your system is doing. So we looked at systems performance in its entirety. So that current, what is going on now. So what's happening in terms of my leakage, my customer minutes lost, my interruptions to supply, what plant have I got down? The ability to forecast, which everybody talks about with regards to digital twins. So what will happen and what do I need to do about that? I think one that often gets forgotten is around hindcast. So the learning that we can get from digital twins in what happened and why. So we have events within our organisation where things go wrong. Do we fully take the learning from those events? So how do we play that into the digital twin? So we're increasing our knowledge and awareness of what could go wrong. How much does it cost to operate my system? Becoming more and more important. Within the last 6 months, we've seen all the impacts externally. Well, over the 2 years, we had COVID initially, the war in Ukraine, energy prices are going up. It's a completely new lens for my organisation at the moment. We've always focused on water resources, now we're focused on water resources and energy. What maintenance do I need to do? When do I need to do it? And what is the appropriate level of maintenance? And when it's done, was it actually any good? And investment. So when we're talking about investment, so how do we use digital in terms of what are the problems I need to solve? What are my burning platforms at the moment that I need to invest in? So in the short term, but also that medium and long term planning with regards to water resources, being able to model the effect of climate change on our business. And what is that optimal investment? So rather than just looking at I need to lay a pipe, we need to look at multi-parameters in that space as well. And obviously the one that we're all focused in on utilities is around customers. So, you know, their expectations are increasing dramatically. It's not good enough now just to be able to turn the tap on and water come out, and actually we take your waste product, we treat it and we put it back to the environment in the condition that it came from. That's not good enough. They want the same service that Amazon give them. That's a fact. It's hard for us to compete in that space. What do our customers think of our service? Actually, we need to engage with them in a different way. And ultimately, it comes down to what do they want from the utility of the future. So that's that first group. So you can see it's really big, and this is why we started to split these out into the different areas. When we start talking about people, for me, this is my big passion, and digital twins, it should be enabling your organisation to collaborate effectively, breaking down those silos. But more importantly, the workforce should be happier, healthier, and safer. So we need to be able to reduce those high-risk activities. And we're already seeing some benefits of that in my organisation with regards to people not being called out at 2 o'clock in the morning to a site. That is the most dangerous time for them to do that piece of work. That can wait till next day. But also they're not working in the highway like they used to. Probably one of the most dangerous activities in a utility. It's about having we talk about calm water networks. Well, actually, wouldn't it be great if we had a nice calm working environment with less stress, less mental fatigue? So this whole bit about being a blue light organisation, you know, water utilities, when it goes wrong, we generally think we're the 5th emergency service. It's actually when we collaborate most effectively around a particular problem, but actually, and we reward and pride ourselves on that. Actually, we need to flip it around and take away the non-value added tasks for people. You know, those mundane tasks that we ask people to do because they've always been asked to do it. What we need to do is to enable them and empower them to be creative within the workplace. And generally that will make them happier and they'll feel more fulfilled in their role. But this comes with the challenge for our organisation around skills. What skills do we need now in this digital space, but also what skills do we need in the future? You know, going back 10 years, if somebody said I'd have 4 data scientists in my team, I would say, what's a data scientist? So these things are evolving, yeah? And the other one around people is culture. So creating a culture within your organisation that values data, treats it as an asset. How do you engage with your people around digital twins and not being seen as a threat? We need to build trust with those people. This is not about taking their jobs away. We need to empower and value our workforce, and we need to move to being proactive rather than reactive. And then the final group is around business transformation. So these are some really big topic conversations, yeah? So how does digital twins influence your future business operating model? So we had that right at the beginning in terms of NEOM. The guys from there is they're starting with that greenfield site. You know, we've got legacy assets over 100 years old. How do we digitize them and get the best out of them. Your board and your owners need to think about what skills are required. How do we attract them into the workplace? How do we retain those people? What cultural change is required for successful adoption? How do digital twins help build trust with our regulators? So in the UK, we're heavily regulated. How do we share that information and actually get a better relationship with our regulator? And also, how do digital twins help us adapt to climate change? So we've heard a lot about carbon. We're seeing benefits from our digital twins in terms of carbon reduction, and it's one of the key measures and metrics. You know, my organisation has pledged that we will be carbon neutral by 2030. That is not long. That is not long for a water utility. And also, how do we improve environmental outcomes? We're seeing a lot of press negative in the UK about the pollution of rivers from water utilities. All used to be about leakage reduction and how rubbish we were at managing leakage, but now we're really in that environmental space as well. And also, the key question for your organisation: how does this align with your organisation's purpose, its values, and its strategic outcomes? So some really big topic areas here. The next step for us is a real focus in the last 6 months, or in the next 6 months, where the 3 groups will work individually and we will come together on a monthly basis, where we will coordinate the activity. We're also going to get more integrated with the other working groups, and we're aiming to publish a white paper early 2023. So that's the next steps, and thank you very much.
So thank you so much. Thank you to all the sub-working group chairs and co-leads. We really appreciate all your hard work and dedication. I know every single one of you has a day job, and you've made time to put this effort in for the betterment of the larger water sector. So thank you so much for your dedication. I think we have a few minutes. We're actually ahead of schedule. And I'm just going to see if we can engage a little bit. I mean, a workshop is very different than a conference. It's really supposed to get feedback. We're supposed to hear from you. We're supposed to have this nice dialogue. So I'm going to stand up here for about 7 minutes and 26 seconds. So either I'm just going to be silent by myself and look foolish, or I can get some of you to give me some of your feedback. So we just went through 4 sub-working groups. We thought that this is the best division of labor for digital twins. Are there areas that we're missing? Are there areas that we have a sub-working group looking into it, but we're looking in a different